Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but need never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome once again to Midnight's Edge After Dark. We're live, and it's the 6th of February. Welcome to the program. We got Nick in the house. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, Tom. I'm doing just fine. And I'm really hoping Price of Reason. Oh, hey, Price of Reason did show up. But I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm right here, Nick. So excited to be. It's huge and diabolical. Really happy to be here.
And I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I am the host.
Everything's cool. Yeah, I'm happy to be
Everybody's
here.
doing vices. How you doing, Price? Price of Reason.
I'm doing okay.
But Arnold would say the way Arnold would spell Price of Reason and Arnold speak would be Plice, P-L-I-C-E, Plice of Reason. So L-E-A.
Price of Reason.
Plice of Reason.
Come on, Cohagen. Give these people air.
California.
Come on. I'm right here. Great. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. We are children. Grown adults pretending to be kids. That's basically what we are. Welcome, everybody. Get your ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
Get to the chopper. Yeah.
Mom does the best one. Yeah, I can't really do it. I can only do the give those people air. I could somehow do, but some of the other
what's funny is I stumbled on doing Arnold on accident. Like for years, I tried to do, just like everybody else, doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger pressure. Like it would always just come out wrong, and then just one day, just fucking around, and I wasn't even trying to do Arnold. And I don't even remember what I said or did, and somebody's like, "Oh my God, you sound just like Arnold Schwarzenegger." I'm like, "I do not sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger." And I don't really hear it as well as you guys do, I guess.
No, it totally sounds great. It sounds great.
To me, it doesn't sound as much like him as when I used to try to do it other ways, but like, it was weird because it's just like this thing I do, and it's there.
It's good.
Glory be.
I'm the governor. Screw
I
you,
am
freedom.
you're the governor, but I'm the gummy bear of Candy Cornia.
That's why you fat. You keep eating all that crap.
Shut up. I kill you.
Put the cookie down.
Arnold's Pizza Shop.
All right, now that we're driving it off the audience, they're like, enough, man. God.
You're so immature.
Yeah. Speaking of immature, Deadpool creator is upset. We're going to talk about that. And Crocodile D has been edited. We got New Zealand Greg or NZ Greg. Why do I always do that? NZ Greg sends in a member chat for 24 months. What does the NZ stand for, Greg? Maybe that will help me stop doing that.
New Zealand Greg?
If it does stand for New Zealand, super. If not, I feel like a tool. Oh, we got 6 in the chat. Where? Oh, there she is. Wisconsin drunk is your best impression. That's not an impression. That's just what chicks sound like when they're drunk in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And Nick, you gonna take me home? Do me favors. I love your hair.
I got pizza.
I love pizza. I'll marry you for some fucking pizza right now, because I'm so.
Well, good, because I'm a cheap date. Yeah.
Don't call me cheap.
So I was cheap.
I know.
Jeez.
If you ever met a Wisconsin girl, you know that's spot on. So how's your day been, Price?
It's been pretty good, I guess. I caught up on a lot of stuff that I was streaming, but I didn't finish. I finished like Squid Games and The Night Agent. Watched a bunch of things that I needed to watch that I just didn't get around to.
Is there a Night Agent in Night Agent?
I guess. I mean, I don't know if you saw that. The first season of Night Agent was actually pretty good. And then they got another second season. And when you watch it, you could tell there's a real dip in quality. And you know what it turns out? The first one, it was based on a book, but it was a series of books with only one book. So the author never wrote more books from the series. So when they did the second series, they didn't have source material. So they kind of just winged it, and you can tell the difference.
Well, I was just asking because in Squid Games, there's neither squids playing games.
Oh, I see what you mean. No, it's kind of a spy espionage type of thing. The first season was really pleasant. It's the second season that you could tell just a dip in quality. Squid Games 2, I finally got through that. It probably didn't need a second season, although once I got over some hurdles, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
All right. I've never heard of it, so there you go.
You've never watched Squid Games?
Oh, no, the other one.
Night Agent. No, I'm saying Squid Games. I saw that the second season.
Squid Games, everybody's talking
I watched
about that.
two things. I watched The Night Agent, finished up because I was in the middle of that. I never got a chance to finish it. Then I finished Squid Games, which also I was in the middle, never got a chance to finish.
I watched the first episode of season 3 of Invincible. It's good. But I still gotta watch the second and third ones.
I kind of dipped out of that show somewhere in the second season. I don't remember why.
Was it because they, for some reason, made the stupid move of let's have there be like a halftime break equivalent for the second half of the season and end up being like a 4 or 5 month gap? That may have been the reason.
There was an annoying girlfriend. I felt like they kept surrounding that guy with an annoying girlfriend and a bunch of like LG things, and I just said to myself, you know what? I don't know.
Well, the first season he had that. There was his girlfriend Amber, who was absolutely awful. But in the second season, it was like she was a completely new character. And
maybe that first season kind of drove me away. It was all right. I feel like I started watching the second season.
It.
Don't remember much about it. Maybe I dipped out. Maybe it's great. Maybe I just didn't give it a fair chance, and I'm a dick. But maybe if you say it's so great,
the two are not necessarily combined. I mean, you are mutually exclusively a dick.
Maybe I'll give it a chance. If you say it's so wonderful, I'll give it a chance. And
I enjoy it. It may not be for you. You also know I'm like one of the biggest ambassadors of something like The Beekeeper. So
I like The Beekeeper.
Yeah, I wasn't sure your stance on it. I'm just trying to say that I like stuff that's
what you get for fucking over Mrs. Cosby,
right, bro? Like I was like, we need more movies where a granny has the wrong thing happen and a dude just like, you don't mess with granny.
No, I enjoy. Listen, The Beekeeper. It delivered on whatever it was supposed to be. You were supposed to watch a Jason Statham movie that somebody upsets him, and then he gets upset and kills a bunch of people. He did.
It's basically a Chuck Norris movie, yeah.
Right. I went to the theater knowing exactly what I was going to get. I sat there and I enjoyed every minute of it because it was exactly what I came to see. Is it the best movie I've ever seen? No. Did I really enjoy it? Yes. I don't know why. It was a good popcorn movie.
I've watched it like 3 fucking times now.
I've
I
only
watched
watched
that
it
4 times. I love it's so fun and rewatchable and how entertainingly valid it is. And he's even got some good like one-liners in there. It's so fun. I'm like, there needs to be a follow-up test. I don't know how they're gonna follow up with how wild it got, especially in the last half hour. But I believe there's a will, there's a way.
I saw it in the theater. I may not have seen it 4 times, but I went to the movie theater like pretty much on opening night, and I went and I saw it, and I knew what I was going into, and I liked it. So I don't have an issue with the Beekeeper. Invincible, I don't know. I always in that first season maybe felt like it was kind of cool, but there was something else going on there that started rubbing me the wrong way, and I could be wrong.
It was
Maybe
probably Amber. She was that awful in season 1.
Maybe. I thought I started watching the second
Amber
season.
Heard
I don't
was
know
in
what
it?
happened, but what happened? What did
Well, you said Amber. I thought by now that's the only Amber we refer to as like by one name basis.
No, because I remember a lot of people who liked season 1, but they all kind of had the unified complaint that show was good, or they would say it was great, but Amber was awful, or it was good, but they should have ditched Amber.
Amber
And-
who?
Well, that was
He had a
Mark
girlfriend. He
Grayson's
had, like, a girl-
girlfriend
Oh,
in
so
the
it's
show.
not Amber Heard.
But
She
she's,
was
like,
this
smarter than him, and
absolutely
he's stupid.
tedious, super, and this was at the peak of like, I guess you could say, super hardcore SJW type of girlfriend. This is kind of like at the peak, and it was one of those things where she was the one character who was like that, and it was super duper annoying. And then
I didn't hate everything about that show. I probably could have watched more of it, but I don't know. I don't have a great reason as to why I stopped. I do feel like I started watching the second season and stopped. Couldn't tell you why. But if you say it's fantastic, then I'll give it a chance.
Then season 2 happened, and trust me when I say I was kind of like, I guess you could say this is the closest I was doing to walking on eggshells, being ready to shred on her character. And it was like she acted like a completely different character. Absolutely different character. I didn't trust me. I thought, oh, okay, maybe the shoe's gonna drop like second half, and it never did with her character. However, ironically enough, when her character started to become likable, that's when they had her not be involved, let's just say, in the show anymore. But to be fair, it is for a good reason, because we're getting Mark Grayson's proper romance from the books, him and Adam Eve, aka ATOM Eve, not ADAM, for those who might be confused in the chat.
Yeah, no, I thought that this was being teased even at the end of the first season to an extent or something. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's because they were together in the books. That's you definitely caught on to that correctly.
Right. I felt like they were laying the groundwork for that, and I don't have an issue with it. But
Mhm.
I perhaps I was too quick to judge. The other thing is that I think in my mind there was also The Boys, and that started off, good, the first
Mhm.
season, and then that kind of went off a cliff, and I felt that
It
they were
did.
going in the same kind of agenda-driven direction on Invincibles. Maybe I was completely wrong. That probably alienated me. Sometimes you have like how do I explain? You have these kind of casualties of the culture war that
Oh,
maybe
of course.
maybe they got caught up in like friendly fire. You know what I mean? It's possible that it doesn't do any of the things that I thought, and it's a great show. But for me, like the first sign of something fishy, I'm already like, I'm already gone. I just don't feel like dealing with it. So
That's fair.
maybe I misinterpreted it and I quickly jumped ship.
No, that's absolutely valid. That's very valid. Yeah, I really enjoyed season 2. I still hate that they took the needless break halfway through. It was just like they should have just kept the show going. I feel like for some people they felt like they were on like a high with the momentum, and they killed their momentum for that pointless break. And a lot of people ended up not coming back. So it's a good thing they have the season 3 rolled out quicker, because that definitely rubbed a lot of people the wrong way who did enjoy seasons 1 and 2. So but that's it though. I did enjoy it. There's a few deviations from the book. However, there's some things where they go in faithful, they go in very faithful. Like there's a one-off episode based off the character Adam Eve, and it's basically her 2-issue miniseries from the books brought to life, even up to including specific lines of dialogue. I did a video a while back on it, and I was like, holy crud, hold on, wasn't that line said in the comic? I go back to my issues. I'm like, holy crap, they actually did use lines from that. So yeah. It also helps too that they get the animation style that it's basically Ryan Otley, who's the artist who did most of the issues. It was based off his style mostly, even though he wasn't the original artist. It was actually Corey Walker.
Oh, now I know. Didn't they have like Seth Rogen doing a voice, and then like he's one of the producers? Maybe that's why like it all kind of got jumbled in my mind. Anytime I see Seth Rogen, like
He's
these
been
days
credited, but I've never. I think he's done one character that he may have done a voice for. Honestly, I never noticed. But he's been credited as a producer, and I could not tell you where it was been.
All right, fair enough.
Now I have heard, and this is something that's not gone off the ground. Apparently, he's wanted to direct a live movie for a while. And I'll tell you what, that's one thing I will stay away from like the plague. Because if he's going to be directing it versus producing, we all know how that will actually be what versus being a producer be under his name.
Generally speaking, these days, if I see his name, it's like not a good thing. I'm not saying maybe in this thing he has less of a role and he just kind of has some, production credit, but he's not as active creatively, which I would hope. When it comes to Seth Rogen, I think back in the day when he had his more stoner stuff, I thought that was relatively amusing during its day.
Fuck you, Rogan! Get away from my turtles!
But over time he's just become the guy that takes over franchises and annoys me and just annoys me in general. Even that Green Lantern movie that people didn't like at the time, I didn't even hate that as much as it probably wasn't true to what. Not the Green Hornet, sorry.
God! The Green Hornet movie. Oh.
The thing is that I'm sure it wasn't true to whatever it was, but somehow I saw it and I don't know why I didn't quite hate it. At the time, I was more tolerant towards Seth Rogen, but I don't know. I feel like that kind of emboldened him to continue to take different IPs that aren't his and to make them crappy. So maybe I shouldn't have cut him any slack then.
No, that's one thing
Brian.
he absolutely
good
was
evening.
involved in butchered. Sorry, 70s.
No, good evening. And I did want to say that I believe one of the conditions of the ending of tariffs by the US on Canada is that Seth Rogen has to be returned to Canada.
Take him. You better.
Please,
Have him.
take him.
Well, that's right. If
No, I don't want
wants
to go back to Canada.
You guys
Canada wants to get out of this, they got to take him back.
You've
Is
ruined
it
so
Seth
many
Rogen that
properties. Green Hornet, TMNT, all wonderful properties, beautiful properties. Some may say they're the best properties, but they've been ruined, hammered, debauched, butchered. So we got to make our country great again by removing Seth Rogen so he can stop getting his hands on our beloved properties. Sweet, sweet properties.
The trouble is we don't want him back, so that's an immediate breakdown in negotiations.
Well, then I guess he's going to have to bump the tariff percentage much higher, so you're stuck with him.
Let's just send him to Pakistan.
Send it back, said.
Oh, yeah.
Greenland. You can go to
Any
Greenland.
country ending in Anistan will solve the problem.
Anistan in this case. Anistan.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit. I'm Jewish.
Is Seth Rogen the guy that said that when somebody steals his car, it's not a big deal because he can buy another one?
That's right.
Or
It's like an experience. You should expect it when you come to California.
You can't claim
It's like
you're
a
a true
ride.
Angelino unless that's happened to you. Yeah.
Imagine trying to make it seem like that's just an okay thing for it to happen. Oh, your car gets stolen. Big whoop. Wow. That you want to know? No, we do talk about a lot of like particular celebrities do live in a bubble, but he proved it like one of the worst. If there's anyone who absolutely like went out of their way to prove it, he absolutely did by using that statement as a way of defense.
Well, most normal people can't afford to be without their car for a day or two like that, and then you always lose, even if you get the insurance for that.
Well, to
kind
be
of thing. You
fair,
always
he
lose
wasn't
out.
talking about your car, your whole car. He just said you should expect your shit to get stolen.
Oh,
from
your
the
shit
car.
to get stolen.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I
Let's
just
see
remember that the way he worded it came off as especially out of touch and douchey, but I don't
Yeah.
remember quite what he said.
Basically what I said. He's like, well, you're in California. It's like you should expect it. It's almost like a ride.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Well-
let's see what you guys are talking about out there. We got Jason Webster sending in 5 Australian dollary dues, saying Furiosa Mad Max story and A Better Man doing really well at the 14th annual AACTA Awards. Is that Australian? Because Australia's fucking broke.
Truth.
Why are they broke,
so
though?
bass backwards. No, I mean they're fucked up. Like for one, Furiosa and Better Man are doing well at their awards, and we're going to get into Australia here in a little bit when it comes to
Can't.
Crocodile Dundee.
It's not a real place. How can you get into
That's true. You can't get into it. Speaking of impressions, Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle says, it's impression tonight again? Yeah, it's impression night every night here at Mead. Lost for Words sends us a 5-pound super sticker. Thank you for that. It was a Shiba dog. And Daryl Brewer, holy crap, gifting 10 Mead memberships. Holy crap, we got to do a video for that. Let's see here. I don't know what level were they at.
Huge memberships, big members.
Okay,
best
so they
members.
were. It doesn't specify what level. So we're just going to give y'all. We're going to give him a maximum effort puppy for his maximum effort. So let's do that.
Let's do it.
You know what? It's that season again. We haven't done this one in a while. Let's do Oscar-winning puppy. That's a good puppy.
Look at that dog.
He's the greatest actor in the world.
Awesome. I guess we should
Even
probably
better
get to
than
our
De Niro.
stories now that
We probably should now that we actually
now that we
have the
talked about
audience
voice
and-
impressions and Invincible.
Yeah.
And
So
who
what's going
knows?
on in the news? Well, Rob Liefeld, however you say his name, sorry.
Liefeld.
Yeah, Liefeld has been just going off on Twitter at Marvel and Kevin Feige. So what's going on here? Well, it turns out this stems back a ways. He's sharing some emails and some other things that about not getting proper credit and being treated like shit at the premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine. So, yeah, in this, Liefeld laid out his decision in a 90-minute episode of his podcast, as well as a follow-up interview with The Hollywood Reporter, where he detailed a series of perceived slights at July's New York premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine. At the premiere, Liefeld learned that he and his family were not invited to the after party, something he was accustomed to attending. He also felt snubbed by Disney brass, including Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, whom he says was near him on the red carpet but did not acknowledge him. Now, he also took pictures with a bunch of cast and crew, and I guess those pictures were deleted. And some other bits. So, yeah.
Why are they mean to him? Why wouldn't you be nice to him?
They,
Well-
if I'm going to say anything, I don't think Kevin Feige even knows what Liefeld looks like. And I'm not saying that as an insult towards Rob. I'm actually saying that more so as an insult towards Feige, because he basically, his character has basically, let's just say, kept the MCU above water. We're not going to say brought it back, didn't make it alive, above water. It's hanging on by a thread now because of Deadpool and Wolverine. He should know who the creators, whether it's Rob Liefeld, David Michelini. I mean to say Fabian Nicieza, who are the co-creators of Deadpool. And if you want to credit Len Wein and as well for Wolverine, he should know all these guys, especially when he's out there, doing his dance of, hey, look at this movie, we're back. Yeah, he should know this stuff. That's the least he could do, amongst other things.
Let's just say that like Feige didn't immediately recognize him for whatever reason, and it shows that Feige's an idiot. But inviting him to the party sort of to celebrate the release of the movie, not inviting him, I can sort of understand that. I mean, it's a movie that ended up making so much money for them. And really, like you said, Nick, they desperately needed this movie. It's his character. I mean, you're doing a party to celebrate the release of the movie. Not inviting him is kind of shitty. And what are you going to tell me? Like, oh, we couldn't have him in the room like with all the other people there wasn't enough space for him. You can always make room for the guy that created it. So I can understand. I don't know if this reaction isn't an overreaction. I don't know if I'd act this way. Maybe I'd look for different ways to express my dissatisfaction, and maybe I wouldn't do it publicly. But I can understand why he would be annoyed.
Well, and I guess he reached out and asked if his complaints could be brought up to Bob Iger or Kevin Feige, and he got a response, a phone call, and I guess his reps were screamed at today, according to this. We're not Fox. And they hung up on him. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess what he's implying is in the past, when Fox had the property, he was treated much better.
Isn't
I
there a
mean, why
common
wouldn't he
thread?
be? If he created the property, it's the minimum courtesy. You know what I mean? Like, why go out of your way to be mean to him? Unless there's a part of this story and some context that I don't understand, them all just being jerks and going out of their way to not invite him to a party that's celebrating his own character just seems odd to me.
Maybe
You know,
you need-
Odd, but you gotta be fair here, and I'm not saying it as a fair towards like this is right, but more so fair in terms of the consistency. They are historically known for not crediting creators properly or improperly. This is not news at all. This is
Maybe-
a historical issue. I mean, you can
it's
look
maybe
just an
he-
invitation, man. It's just
Spider-Man, he
it's
did
like, hey,
those
it's
things.
just an invitation. You send the guy an invite. There's probably a few people there having. It's not probably. I've actually been to those type of events. It's basically, you know, they take a bar that usually maybe is open to the public, but now it's not going to be open for a few hours. There's usually somebody walking around with like little hors d'oeuvres, like burgers on a, you know, toothpick kind of thing, and a few kind of like stuffed mushrooms and things, and then you just stand around and, you know, have a few drinks and that's it. And it's like the minimum courtesy. I mean, if they already did that and they're celebrating Deadpool and they're not going to invite him, and I just think it's really douchey. Not to mention, final thing I'll tell you, he probably, if I understand correctly, was at the premiere, and at the premiere they all start getting together and they're all going to this other part. Sometimes it's even on location. Or to like a separate bar next door or something like that to do this. And basically they all went there and just left him behind and said, hey, you're not even invited. I think that that's a pretty shitty thing to do. And I say that even amongst all these kind of elite people or people that are rich or whatever, if you've created a character and there's a premiere celebrating that character and there's a party celebrating that character and they don't want to invite you, I think it's kind of shitty.
Maybe he should team up with Justin Baldoni for his next project.
Yeah,
There's a
boy.
common thread between in these somewhere. I can't figure out where it is.
And it would make the thread even weirder because he created Lady Deadpool with Blake Lively.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe see if there's a pattern here.
So that would make things really awkward considering he gets along with Reynolds and Lively. Liefeld is one of the few pros in the industry who does speak his mind. He's not afraid of be who he wants to be around. He's not someone who really
maybe that's it.
belongs to any, let's just say, club or whatever. He's always been the guy who kind of just marches to the beat of his own drum. And I know there's been a lot of controversy historically over his art style. Regardless of where you stand is irrelevant right now. He should be in this position where he has the accolades for this character creation. This was him and Fabian's character. So, and I'd even probably make the argument you should probably, no, never mind. I see in the paragraph it says writer Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly probably did one of the best runs of Wade Wilson in the books as well.
Well, what they say here is,
all
I
three of
guess, an insider said that while we respect what he's contributed, he does not respect what others have contributed. So basically what they're claiming is the way, so they're almost confirming that, yes, Liefeld was given the cold shoulder, is basically what it sounds like here. And the reason being is he's not too keen on giving others credit, but then he shot back with, yeah, he's also cited Joe Kelly for introducing the fourth wall part, which is what you were talking about, Nick, here. And also obviously Ryan Reynolds for elevating the character to a global stage. And ultimately Liefeld and Nicenza, how do you say it? Nicenza?
Nicieza. Fabian
Nicieza. We're given standard Deadpool created by credit at the end of Deadpool and Wolverine. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like he hasn't been given credit to a point. But I can also see where, like, I mean, you want to tie it in with that Ryan Reynolds shit and the Baldoni shit. There is a lot more crossover here than you'd realize.
Here,
So
I just want to say that Six put up a comment here. He saw multiple underlings with wristbands to the after party and had his publicist calling Disney's publicist right before the movie started. The after party was 2 blocks away. I didn't even see what Six wrote, and I told you that that's the way it is, because usually they choose a place that's very close, or in some cases it's at the venue itself. There's a separate little kind of hors d'oeuvre thing going on. It usually lasts maybe about an hour or two at best. And I'm not saying it usually is not like the most glamorous party in the world or nothing special. It's just sort of a little gathering where a few people that are responsible for something get a little bit of like, recognition. I would be, if I'm him, I have to say that I would be upset as well.
Well, and I was going to bring up the Liefeld's feet bit, right? Because he does get some nods in the movie, but Liefeld's just feet was the play. Was that more of it was an inside joke?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Yeah, but is that more of a knock on him than it was a joke at this point, is what I'm starting to wonder.
Well, even if it's a knock, he rolled with it. He tweeted about it. He leaned in on the joke.
Well, I'm starting to notice, my point is I'm starting to notice some animosity between Liefeld and the people at Marvel that he clearly didn't feel when it was at Fox, and he brings that up later in the article as well. So here it says he felt that in contrast to how he felt on Deadpool 2, which were made by Fox, he notes that he was involved in test screening those films. He met with the marketing team on Deadpool 2. They had me along for the ride, and I caused zero drama. I was happy to be there. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I can kind of see both sides of it, but I agree with him more so that they treated him poorly, and this insider kind of acknowledges that they did, right?
I'll tell you why. I in this case I'm more firmly on his side, because there's nothing special that happens at these parties. All you did was insult a person and not giving an invitation, when in fact, if you're doing a party to celebrate Deadpool and you don't want to invite the guy that created Deadpool, you just come out looking like a dick. And it's not like there people do speeches. It's not like something where you go in and it's a whole ceremony. It's usually literally just a few hors d'oeuvres and somebody has like a glass of wine. You just all say, hey, cheers, and you walk out. It's really such a minimal thing. To not invite him is like a specific middle finger in his face, in my opinion.
And that's what he's saying, basically. And like I said, if this one insider that they're quoting here, if you take them at face value at their quote, it basically is admitting that, yeah, we respect him, but he does not respect others. So that's why we didn't invite him.
Even if they thought that he wasn't respecting others, it's still a bad look for them, and they look like jerks. So they think he's a douche. Right. Invite him to a stupid thing. Well, he would have come. He would have raised his glass. He would have eaten the little burger on a toothpick and walked out. Trust me, nobody would have given a shit.
There's a lot of douches in Hollywood, so really, I mean, what would it hurt to invite him? Yeah.
Right. I mean, he wouldn't be the only douche in the room. Exactly. Exactly. I promise, I agree with you. Guaranteed, he's not. One, he probably isn't the only douche in the room. Two, he may not even be the douchiest person in the room. So
I doubt, if anyone is definitely the least of it, it's Rob Liefeld. I have known many fans who've met him who have say he is one of the most energetic, liveliest personalities to meet at cons ever. Even if he's gone for 2, 3, 4 hours, he gives his time to every fan. And even Clawby crossed paths with him and said himself, yeah, I talked to him before. He's a nice guy. And he's not being on his art style. He said Rob has a very vast knowledge on comics that are better than most I've seen. And I've listened to Rob's podcast, sadly not as much as I should, but the few times I have, the dude knows his stuff. He knows the medium. He's not some guy who just jumped into us, because he wanted to be a part of what would become ultimately a fad. Rob Liefeld is the real deal. Whether you like his style or not is irrelevant. The dude he's one of the real ones.
Nick, I was disappointed when I first heard that he wrote Youngblood. I thought it was the hockey movie. I was disappointed when it wasn't. I got disappointed when it wasn't.
Well, speaking of disappointment, Mikey sends in a $10 super chat. We're disappointed he's not here, but he says, I want to invite everyone on the panel tonight on the Midnight's Edge After Dark official Price of Reason after party, except Price. He's not invited because reasons.
Oh,
so you know that Mikey did it. He invented the taco on a toothpick for his after parties.
Yeah, in his thing, there isn't a burger on a toothpick.
It's like those little mini tacos.
Some little mini tacos. There's usually also like a vegetarian option of sorts. There's like some
Right,
kind of
right.
cauliflower thing.
Or Duvers.
Uh,
No, it is clearly a slight. And I mean, I get it. Part of this, on the other side, you can go, how do you expect Disney to treat you the way Fox did when they're a completely different animal, completely different company? I mean, and the thing is, I said, and the reason I said there's a little bit more crossover here with the Baldoni thing than you might think is there's one person who could have fixed this whole thing.
Ryan Reynolds.
Bingo! And I think he didn't want him there.
Oh.
And that's why. Because that's one person who could say, why isn't Rob here? Or why is Rob being left out? Or
if nothing else, if Ryan Reynolds would have told Feige, listen, this guy created Deadpool. He may be a douche, but you got to invite him, let him have his cocktail and his few hors d'oeuvres, and let him leave. That's all.
And
he
the thing
needed to
is this is exactly the same fucking thing that
Right,
his
it
wife
happened to
did
Justin Baldoni.
to Justin
That's what I'm
Baldoni.
saying.
Wow.
There's a connection here somewhere. I can't
That's
figure
what I
it
keep
out.
saying.
Uncovered something, yeah.
There's something that keeps crossing over, and I saw somebody comment on Nice Pool. I didn't see the connections earlier. Go read their fucking texts, and you'll see this. They were fucking with him from day one, and like the more and more I learn about this shit, the less I like Ryan Reynolds. Like I already knew he was a douchebag, but I'm getting like even fucking Taylor Swift is throwing them under the bus now. Did you guys see this shit?
Remind me, I saw
Yeah.
something, but I didn't see exactly.
Okay,
what it was.
she's
okay,
backed
so
off a bit though. She backed off a bit.
Did she? Okay, well the main story is this. One of the things that Blake used as a way to get Justin to do what she wanted is she said something along the lines of, I know you're not a big Game of Thrones fan, but I'm basically one of these characters. I can't remember the name of the character. She said some bitch on the show. Khaleesi. And you know I've got my two dragons, and her two dragons she was referring to were Ryan and Taylor. And now Taylor's been coming out and saying, yeah, she's not too happy that she's wrapped up in this thing, which I'm sure she's not. And in so many words has said that Blake has used her in the past in this way, and she doesn't appreciate it. Now, Brian, you had said she's walked it back a little bit, but
it was close to her.
Well, I think she said something later.
It was somebody close to her. You're right, Price.
Around she's got no problem with Blake and she's happy to know her or something. She didn't. She basically didn't kind of. She backed off to the extent
She
she
did an
said,
Anthony
she's
Mackie.
great friends with Blake Lively and they're still great friends and blah blah blah. So
okay.
I don't know. I don't know whether she really did diss Blake Lively and then changed it, or. But she
No,
certainly
because it did come from somebody supposedly close to her
Yeah.
camp. So you're right. It wasn't originally her word. So
no.
Does-
She
You're
said,
right.
"Oh, I don't
Feelings
have a
are
problem
bringing-
with Blake. We're still great
Yeah.
friends." She never said she herself never said anything about the dragon thing. I don't think.
Did Liefeld say anything about Ryan Reynolds? Did he say anything
No.
negative about him?
No.
Because that
No.
that would
Didn't say
be
anything.
maybe Ryan Reynolds doesn't want another guy to get credit like that. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think that before all this other Baldoni stuff, but now I'm not sure.
No, I think
And-
it stems back though to him wanting certain credits in the past, and I think that this was a slight.
Sorry, go ahead, finish, Tom.
No. I was just going to say, I do think, especially with this one comment here from the supposed insider, that they did not want him at this premiere party.
So I've been following Liefeld for, I guess, as long as I've had Twix, or at least as long as he's been on there, over a decade. I have a pretty good memory of what he says, and he has said nothing but great things about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And I feel like if he really felt like he had something negative to say, he would, because he's never been afraid of, let's just say, slamming someone if he needs to. He's gone after bigger names before. It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be new to him. But he has credited Reynolds as someone who's helped, bring the character to levels of popularity and all that stuff. He's gone over the moon about him consistently, even when Deadpool 3 was considered an idea that might never even happen, up to when the success of Deadpool Wolverine happened. He's been very consistent on giving Reynolds credit. He's been,
You know what's something I've learned about Ryan Reynolds through the Baldoni shit though?
What?
The more Ryan Reynolds hates you, the more he'll praise you. And like that was the thing that we found out through that is like the more and more like he was gushing to Baldoni, he was actually not. It was fake gushing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I guess this is a thing that him and Blake do.
Mm-hmm.
that they just if you're in the outs in some way that if you say something to them, they'll treat you like you're the most important person in the room until you realize you're out of the circle. That's basically what it is. Now, Price, the way you said that, it sounds like you almost know what I'm talking about or have experienced something like that. Or
I mean, I think that I've experienced people like that. I wouldn't say that I myself have interacted with Ryan Reynolds in that way. I will say that, and I think I've told you this before, that I know somebody that works in the industry. I don't know if I've told you this, that they were in a place where they, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were there. And this person, again, I want to explain, this is not an event that has 1 million people. I'm saying that this is a place that has very few people in it. And the person that I knew walked up to Ryan Reynolds and say, hey, I love your work. Would it be possible to get a picture with you? And you know what Ryan Reynolds said? Take a guess, Tom.
GFY.
go fuck yourself. Yeah.
It may be in nicer words, but basically no. Like, you can't get a picture. And usually, I don't know. I mean, yes, a person could be in a bad mood, but I got the impression that that's kind of how he is, which is a strange, it kind of, maybe people don't like their picture taken, but it still seems weird to me. It's not something that you see every day. Usually if you're like a, celebrity, whatever, you're used to this kind of stuff. And even from people that maybe work in the industry that are not as big as you, like, you're used to that kind of thing. I don't know. The way the story was told to me, and this is from a first person account, I just thought it was kind of strange. But again, that doesn't mean maybe that day he is very upset and they caught him in the worst moment in time. But the more I hear about the guy, the more I'm like, I remember that story that I was told, and it's just kind of strange. And regarding what you're saying about making people feel important, that's happened to me before, that there was one person that I was supposed to do business with. And basically, he actually did some kind of maneuver behind my back. It's a really long story, but it involves entertainment. He was very much a Hollywood person. So he kept pretending like we're best friends, like best buddies. Meanwhile, he was actually behind my back doing something really shady. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's not like uncommon in Hollywood that you'd see such behavior. It's not like they've invented it, but the way people are describing them, I get the idea. I can see it happening.
Well, and I've seen Six complain she wants her money back. Look, the Baldoni thing, if it wasn't for the toxic femme ladies, I know more about this shit than I want to know. The more I'm learning, the less I'm liking Ryan Reynolds, because, what Price is saying is what I'm trying to get at, is he's either overpraising Baldoni while he's turning around and helping Blake steal the project, or he's just returning Baldoni's praises in a mocking way without Baldoni realizing it until it was way after the fact, right? So that's where the whole nice pool thing comes from, and some other things. Like, again, if you start digging deeper into this, it starts making these two look really bad. And this whole thing makes you go, why the fuck did Blake even make this a big deal in the first place? Because this is the biggest Streisand effect situation I've ever seen in my fucking life.
She's an idiot. She's an absolute idiot.
Because if anything, she would have been better off just leaving it alone and trying to figure out a way to steal this from this guy from out from underneath him some other way. Because anyway, back to this shit here. That's my point, is I'm not look, Ryan, it might be really nice to Rob, and Rob might not realize that Ryan doesn't like him. That's kind of my whole point I was getting at with this whole point.
It's possible. I wouldn't put it beside anybody. It's totally could, things like
and
that
again,
happen.
That's my speculation. I have nothing to actually confirm that, or the only thing I have to support it is that he didn't do anything to get Rob into the party.
That's
and
the
he's
minimum.
The one person who could.
He could have, because if he would have said, "Listen,"
well, we don't know if he did or did not.
We
That's
don't know
the
if he
thing.
didn't.
We don't want to say we don't, because we have nothing to prove.
Well, let me tell you what: if
He may have
Ryan
had no
fucking
idea.
Reynolds says that he gets to come in regardless,
they would have let him in.
Exactly, because not only that, Ryan Reynolds was the executive producer of this movie, and he had more power on this movie than anybody's had over any MCU movie ever besides Kevin Feige.
Perhaps he didn't know about it, but then again, as Rob's obviously not got his
That
number.
may be, but it's the way Rob's making it sound is like there are plenty of people who knew that he was not going to be invited.
Mm-hmm.
That's going back to the whole wristband thing, and all that, which means there was people who had wristbands that, as far as Rob was concerned, but that's what Six was saying, were people that were much, much lower on the totem pole than him that were getting into this party that he was not invited to. And
And
that's
by
just
the
one
way-
of the many things.
Diversity
And I guess
party?
Kevin Feige almost ignored him, I guess, didn't shake his hand or anything.
Yeah, he may be the real issue, of course.
Maybe we don't know if
Feige.
it's him or him, but the final thing. Sometimes you don't know the history. You don't know there could be something that we don't know in the history of these relationships. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times, like when there's a person that. Sorry to bring this up again, and this is just a dumb thing. I was once in a similar situation with Bono, who wouldn't shake my hand, and then later I heard from other people that worked with him on that Broadway show that he refused to shake their hand, or not even a picture. He like if you say, "Hey, great to meet you," like he refuses to shake your hand.
Well, it's because he's a piece of shit.
But what I guess what I'm trying to say is that sometimes it's these little things, these little stories from people that are like, refuse to take a picture, refuse to take my hand. It's usually not a good sign. Now, you could still get by for many years. Bono still is very successful. Same with Ryan Reynolds. I mean, you could still be that kind of person and still succeed. But when it comes out the way, like you said, with the Barbara Streisand effect with Blake Lively and that whole thing, it really didn't benefit them in any way.
Well, and with
It's
Ryan, Oh, go ahead,
I
Brian.
was going to say it's possible. I mean, I'm not excusing Bono, but it's possible he just doesn't like shaking hands. I mean, some people have a thing where they really don't like that, touching other people like that. I don't know. Maybe he's
Right. And again, some people are going to
Yeah.
react to different people differently. I get that. And I understand. And maybe Ryan wasn't aware of what was happening at the time. That could very well be. So, I mean, I'm not going to give him a complete pass, though. But, like,
I do still
Rob-
think Bono's a dick, though. That's just
Oh,
my
Bono's a
personal
complete
opinion.
asshole. I mean, that's
I'm just
ask South Park.
Maybe
he's a
maybe
piece
he
of
is a
shit.
germaphobe. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
all I know is that it was beyond the handshake. It's like he doesn't even acknowledge that
doesn't-
if you're
that
not
you
super
exist.
important
Yeah.
and you're just like in the room or something in the same room, he doesn't even acknowledge that like you exist. I understand I'm
Right.
not like the king of the universe. I understand he's Bono. He doesn't have to be a dick, in my opinion. And I'm not the
Mm.
only one that was in that situation. So all I know is that
I think you're more talented than him, Price.
Look, and I'm not going to judge a
I do.
movie star or a musician on whether or not they'll shake your hand necessarily or take a picture,
Yeah.
right? That's one thing. Sometimes shit happens. You catch them at a bad time. I totally get that. But in this situation, and this is the thing with the whole Baldoni thing, and I'm learning more about Ryan Reynolds, he micromanages shit a lot more than you realize. Like, in fact, from what I'm learning is he's basically the one who's managing Blake's career. And she has said this. So, like, that's the thing is he's very controlling, and I'll give him very little leeway that he didn't know about this or that he couldn't have stopped it or done something about it. Like, that's the thing. So I'm not going to let him completely off the hook, but Kevin Feige, let's be real. Feige, if anything, is the biggest poser of this whole thing, right? And that's the video that Andre just dropped here before the show, pointing out how Kevin Feige takes all the fucking credit for all this Marvel Universe stuff when he's done probably the least. Really, if anything, he's done the most damage at this point.
true. At the points that there was nobody there knowing what they were doing and he was kind of in charge, that's when the worst things happened.
Yeah, because prior to that, he had help and he had other people around him. He had Perlmutter, he had
James Gunn,
the committee. He had
Favreau,
James
yeah.
Gunn, Favreau, all those people
Russos,
around him.
Yeah,
The Russos.
Joss Whedon. He had a bunch of other people that had better ideas than him. And the second he was left alone with all of their weird agendas, the thing went off
We
a
got
cliff.
the Marvels. Yeah, exactly. And that's true. Even Bo DeMeo spoke out and said that's kind of how he was treated too. So that's not helping the situation, right? And although Bo has not commented on the one post I did make to him, it was a silly rumor, so I don't know if I necessarily would believe it either way. But it does sound like it's a lot of what Bo DeMeo dealt with too over there when they turned out that he wasn't going to be exactly the poster boy they wanted. So it seems. So I don't know. It's not looking good for Disney at all.
Well, we always say that, and these people always continue to just get away with it. I think that for now, as much as I believe that this is making Ryan Reynolds look bad and Blake Lively, I don't know how directly you'll see any kind of change, because most of the people, a lot of people don't have time to read all the details, Baldoni, Blake, whatever. It's not even like the Johnny and Amber thing. This is a lot more kind of nitpicky with the inside of the production. Not everybody has the patience to even read it or get into it. These lawsuits are like 1 million pages each, and a lot of like he said, she said, It's whatever.
Yeah.
It's a dumb, stupid thing. It's not.
I'm going by a lot of the texts and all that kind of stuff. Is basically what I'm going by.
I guess
So,
what
yeah,
I'm
you're
saying, your
100%
normie
right,
moviegoer probably doesn't know much about that Baldoni Blake Lively, or
Oh, no. Well,
or doesn't give a fuck. I don't think it's gonna. Maybe it'll ricochet off like
it's
and
tabloidy, so it's starting to make the. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Maybe Blake more. I think that Ryan Reynolds still isn't at a point where it's significantly hurt him. If he does another like movie or another Deadpool movie or whatever, I think people are going to see it.
Well, on that note, he did visit the set, and that's, I guess, so it's not like Liefeld is just coming out from out of nowhere going, well, these fuckers didn't invite me to the party. They're treating me like shit. He claims here when he talked to THR that during the London set visit is where he started to feel unwelcome, but he declined to elaborate. So something happened there, right, that made him start to feel that way. So whatever it is, I guess my point is I don't think it's coming from no place. So he says Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. That is my personal experience. But he did just fly out the creators of Fantastic Four as well. They put here in his flew number of creators to the set of Fantastic Four, not the creators of Fantastic Four. Sorry, because the creators of Fantastic Four are dead.
Yeah, they would be like 100 something.
Yeah, Stan Lee and whoever else. Yeah. Anyhow, but they did, and he was probably not one of them. Obviously, not that he probably would be. But yeah, so like you were saying though, Nick, he does march to the beat of his own drum. So that's probably another reason why they don't like him so much. But
the final comment I'll say is that when it came to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, I think people could see Johnny Depp and think, well, we like Johnny Depp and we believe that something wrong is happening here. Even if he's eccentric and weird, he didn't really do all of this stuff. When it comes to Baldoni, the problem is, even if, let's say, everything is true, and let's say they treated him crappy, Baldoni himself seems kind of like, not exactly my cup of tea. I mean, don't forget that until this scandal, he had a podcast called Man Enough that he lectured about like the negative impact of the patriarchy.
He's the last guy I want to get behind.
Right. I mean, he would be a guy that would be like number one on our list, like at top of our list of us like saying, man, this guy's some phony
his
baloney.
Tweets or his
male
texts
feminist.
are so fucking cringe, dude. That's why I know that Nice Pool is probably making fun of him.
Yeah,
but Rob,
I think that basically he's super annoying, and under any other circumstances he would be treated as such. It's just somehow in this mix that them going out of their way to sort of throw him under the bus, you have a little bit of empathy. You're like, well, even this weird strange male feminist that hates the patriarchy, maybe even he doesn't deserve this. But it's not like a huge win. You're not in his corner saying, you go, you show them.
It also might have
I mean?
less to do with him and more so to do with people are sick and tired of Ryan and vicariously Blake's bullshit. That's the other thing too you got to remember, because I've been hearing about Ryan Reynolds for a while.
I've never liked, I'll be honest with you, I've never really liked Blake Lively. I feel like Blake Lively is one of those people that got like further than their talent.
I believe she's only famous because of her husband now, basically.
No, not only that. It started off, she was like on a CW show that she was just okay. I mean, the show itself was a piece of shit and she was just okay on it. But let's just say maybe some young ladies liked it. I don't know what. I had a girlfriend who liked to watch it. On occasion, I had to sit through this thing. It was a nightmare. But and it's not like I saw it and thought, wow, she's such a great actress. But then she went out with Leonardo DiCaprio. That was her big thing. That like for a few years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Leonardo DiCaprio went out with her, so they started giving her all these. Oh, do you want to work for Revlon? Do you want to do like Vogue? Do you want to do this? All because like for lack, I know this is going to sound bad, and I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody. Because Leonardo DiCaprio was banging her, she got a few like deals with some beauty, whatever. And then somehow from there, she somehow got to, that was the big break, that she was in that Green Lantern movie or whatever it was with Ryan Reynolds, which was a piece of shit movie, pretty much. Like wasn't a great movie, let's just say. And then they got together then, and since then she's with him. So really, she attached herself to the right people at the right time, and it was good for her career. There is nothing that she does as an actress that is like above, average. You know what I mean? She's an average actress. Maybe she's not the worst actress in the world. She's not like Amy Adams or anything. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't know her if I saw her, to be honest with you.
And that's another thing that, yeah, and this is just my personal, this is just me personally and my personal taste here. There are women that, like, you say, oh, like, she's a star, and I look at her, I'm like, oh, great, I understand why, I really like her. I don't know why, like, Leonardo DiCaprio and Ryan Reynolds were chasing, like, Blake Lively. There's nothing about her that looks so amazing to me. She just kind of looks, she's
Tells
fine.
you more probably about her in the bedroom.
She's fine, you know what I mean? Like, she's fine, but when I look at her, I don't have that kind of feeling. There's some actresses that you look at like, oh, that's a very appealing actress. She's never seemed that way to me. I don't know why these kind of guys like her so much, but the bottom line is she can consider herself very lucky that she's had the path that she's had, and instead of just accepting it and just letting it go, that whole stupid thing with that movie, and just accepting it and moving on, I think that her and Ryan Reynolds extremely greedy. And they're paying for it now to some extent.
Well, I think they were trying to usurp the movie because she wanted the series, is what it is.
Right, because he bought the thing is, even though he's like a no-name loser, he somehow with the few cards that he had in his deck, he managed to male feminist his way into convincing the author of these books that he's going to be the guy that, like, it will adapt the movies, and he somehow got the rights to it. So once he got the rights to it, they can't get rid of him unless they cause a big stink. And I guess since there's a sequel to that movie, but I don't think there's 70 sequels. I think how many
There's
a
few
more
books. I can't remember exactly how many, but yeah, that's the thing is it's all in there. If you kind of dig through it, you can tell that's kind of
books.
You can kind of tell it's Blake seeing it as her, basically her female franchise that she can.
Right. So she said to herself, like, I don't need this guy anymore. I'm going to take over the franchise. And it's like she creates enough of an issue. Then at the end, like, she's like, well, look at this terrible guy. I'm going to take over the franchise. And she thought that all of Hollywood would say, oh, you go, girl. But one, the tide is turning. Two, there's enough evidence that suggests that she's not as great as she presents, including her husband. So, yeah, I don't know how great it's going to work out for them. I think that at this point, they probably regret ever even doing this thing, which they should regret because they're stupid. And at the same time, this Justin Baldoni guy barely skates by. He is kind of like a male feminist weirdo. And I have so little good things to say about this guy.
I have very little respect.
Very little respect. Even let me tell you another thing. You're a dude and you get a franchise. You're like, oh, I'm a male feminist. Why don't I buy this book for women? Like, with a series with all this kind of female themes. It's like, dude, go make some movies. What are you buying this female shit? You bought female shit with a bunch of male feminism. Now you're getting what you deserve. You know what I mean? You put all your eggs in this stupid male feminism basket. You wanted to go and kiss ass to all these weirdos. Well, that's what you get.
Yeah, well, beyond that, I will say, no, because I didn't expect to go that deep into this stuff, but the Rob Liefeld thing to just kind of wrap up
AOC,
there.
I don't think she's hot. I don't know why somebody in the chat said that
I
AOC
have no
is hot.
idea.
I actually do
She's
not
got
think
crazy
she's hot.
eyes. Anyway, this picture here, and Rob's not wrong. This is the only picture from the event that I could find him in online.
Mm-hmm.
So when he says they've deleted any other pictures that he supposedly took with the cast, crew, or anybody else, he's not lying. I can't find him. So, yeah. So, I don't know, Nick, if you want to say anything else about this, or Brian, or anybody else, since Price and I went off about Baldoni there.
But
All right, I'll be quiet now.
Just more
It's all good, it's all
examples
good.
that Hollywood is a hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, this is a business as usual for Hollywood.
Yes.
They've done this to creators. I was gonna bring up much earlier that if you want further reference at this, I mean, look at when there was the Superman lawsuit at DC with Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. You can even look at the Jack Kirby stuff. You can look at the stuff with Steve Ditko and the Ditko estate over the use of Spider-Man. I mean, it is definitely, sadly, it's a tale as old as time. And the worst part is, it don't just happen with the movies and shows. It even happens in the comics as well. Oh, does it happen in the comics too? It's a shame how we have a very horrible way of treating our creators in all the mediums.
Yeah.
So sad stuff.
Well, let's see what you guys are talking about out there. We got Jason Webster sending in another Australian $5 dues. Says he comes to suck IPs dry, the plague career. Vampire. Sasaratu.
Good one.
Kalekioki sends in 5 and says it's been a long known history that Marvel does not treat or pay royalties to their creators well. They treat their creators with little regard. And yeah, Disney's just as bad or worse. So I guess double that up. And I guess DC's gotten a lot better about it. I mean, but Marvel needs to clean up a bit, it sounds like. Aurora Uplinks has been a member for 20 months, says, hey, I hope everyone is having a good day. On a personal note, I'm going through a lot of misery. Oh, I can relate. I hope that everybody's day improves drastically. Me too, Aurora, and I hope yours does as well. Jason Webster sends in $5 Australian reduces update. Lively Blake Stitch up against Baldoni falls apart. Cobblers everywhere rejoice. Aurora Uplinks then sends in another 5 and says, I don't know if I will ever be happy. To be honest, I have not had outside family friends for years. I think the loneliness is getting to me. Oh, Aurora, I live in a very isolated area. I can relate a lot, trust me. And then he sends in another 5 and says, honestly, I think I'm going downhill emotionally and mentally. I'm tired. Just felt the need to be honest and say I feel broken in a very wrong way, or broken and very wrong. Well, look, things could be a lot worse. Trust me on that. You just got to keep on trucking. You've got friends. You got us. I know how it feels, because sometimes, some days, the only people I talk to are the people that you see here on the panel, or message people like Six and stuff like that. So I know how you feel, man. But you know, I just got some really crappy news before the show, and whatever you're dealing with, trust me, it could be a hell of a lot worse. So just try to look on the bright side. If you really do feel like you need help, reach out. Man.
Yeah,
just
find
reach out.
somebody to reach out to. Yeah, don't sit in it.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, Aurora.
I talk to you guys more than anybody else, probably.
Yeah,
indeed.
So nice.
That's what it turns into here. Yeah.
So,
which is,
but do appreciate the support, man, and we're here to support you as well. So don't feel alone. We got Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle sending in another super sticker. Let's see what it is. I got to bring up my deal here to see. My PC would work with me here. It is a Shiba dog with a thumbs up saying, good job. Thank you for that, Flying Blind. And Six sends in $2 to say, take it off. Well, what is Six talking about? Well, I promised if we reached our goal, although it doesn't say we've reached our goal yet, still says 6 out of 10, although I guess with the amount, it would add
I would
up.
prefer if the goal had been for you to put it back on, Tom, quite frankly.
And then Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle says, Topless Tom. Well, I'll take the shirt off. Here we go.
Wait, why are you taking your shirt off?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like,
Awesome.
I thought it was going to be a Russian doll type thing that was just another shirt and another shirt and another shirt.
By the way, I forgot.
That's
I
next
mentioned this. I've mentioned this before, but just so you know what kind of party that he missed, this Liefeld guy. Remember that I sent you live pictures from it was actually a Disney event, Tom, that I was at. I send you like live pictures from it, so you saw what one of those cocktail things looks like. I even sent you like a picture of the little table with the burgers.
Yeah.
That was a Disney event. That's pretty much what he missed. And between you and me, when you looked at those pictures, did that look like anything special? It was just some bar there. There was like a few people standing there. It's nothing. It's nothing for them to invite him.
It's just
Like a basic lounge kind of event.
It was just a lounge, but it's not like you looked at it and thought, wow, like the glamour. It was just something. There was like a little thing. They have a few drinks. They have hors d'oeuvres. It's nothing. To not invite him is just, but you said it's a slight. They did it on purpose.
I think so. And then we got Flying Blind, who also says topless Tom. Well, that's as topless as you're getting for now. What were you saying, Brian?
I'm afraid I will have to drop out and go and eat.
Well, it's dinner time.
Sorry about that, yeah. But while we were on the air, I got a new T-shirt. First one ever that I've got of Canon Film Club.
Nice.
Canon Films.
Nice.
Those guys knew how to make films.
So that's for my show, obviously.
When you took the shirt out of the package, did you look at it and scream at it like you were in Cyborg?
I did. I did a quick gender check. But that's for my Canon Film Club shows. I'll be wearing
That's
those.
awesome. I
Golan
love
and
it.
Globus really knew
May-
how to put together a production.
They did.
I might
Maybe
have to
other
actually
people.
get me one of those.
Well, maybe there'll be a few more. Now I've had the first
Ooh.
test one and it looks good. So
Oh, you had the first test one?
yeah,
Dude,
it's
we
just a
should
retest.
We should
I'm trying to
all
get into
have
some.
a Canon shirt. A
I'm
Canon
trying to
shirt
get in some
frame.
marketing for my shows. You know.
Oh,
Well,
dude.
You'll have to
But-
show Austin that too.
But by the way, Tom, Six says that I ruined your shirt joke. I don't know why. You already took your shirt and you were doing something else, so I don't think I ruined it.
She wanted more.
I don't think so.
She wanted another
kinda
layer,
like the
maybe.
Culture stream.
Oh,
like the
no.
Culture
Anyway,
stream where all the
hope-
guys
I
have their
revealed
shirts
that I'm
off.
Bat Tom. Y'all got the reveal there.
That
So-
was fine. I that's all I needed to know.
I hope you all have a great night. I got a dash.
You
I'll
too.
see you all
Enjoy
again.
yourself.
soon.
See you later, man.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Check out 70s Rock Fan. And I think the Cannon Club is usually on Monday afternoons, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we also got Mikey again saying, I asked for a selfie for Price, and he said no. Well,
I tried to meet up with Mexican Iron Man.
you knew that was coming.
At his own home. I set aside time. We planned it months in advance, and I was supposed to arrive. He had a whole thing that he planned for us to do. CC Karaoke was supposed to be there. At the end, CC went to meet some lady and disappeared. And Mikey supposedly had some kind of jury duty and disappeared. I'm so thankful that I never even bought the plane tickets, because I would have bought them and just stood by myself in North Carolina or wherever the fuck he lives.
All right, well, there you go. And Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle says, Tom, I'm sorry to intrude, but Six seems to want you naked. I don't think anybody wants to see me naked. I wouldn't want to see me naked. Here, I'll make it up to you guys. How about Paul naked? Everybody loves Paul. There you go.
What
There's
is
a young
that?
Chato. That's a young Paul Chato.
Ah.
That's the picture he sent to me because I used it. I said in a video, I was like, because it was an older picture of him. Like, is it all right if I use this picture, or do you want me to use a different one? It was kind of a goofy picture of him. He goes, no, don't you dare use that picture. And then like 2 minutes later, I get that picture in my inbox. He goes, this is my only authorized picture. So I'm like, you got it. Wait, put it back up. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, come on, man, get it up.
Hang on. It's in one of our videos. It's in one of our Wicked videos. I know that. It's his approved file photo.
Wow, he was a dinky Canadian.
I don't remember how old he said he was here, but he's pretty young. So, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, he's not afraid to get naked.
well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you
So,
just gotta run free in the world.
speaking of naked, I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but there's been some editing going on, and this time it has nothing to do with nudity,
Ooh,
like it did with Splash, or
Mhm.
close to nudity, like it did with Back to the Future, or even bad words, like it did with the French Connection. But it has to do with a joke. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, and that is one of the best jokes in the movie. If they remove
Isn't
that,
it?
fuck them. Fuck them. That's one of the best jokes. I don't care. I can't stand the idea that they would remove that joke.
And what's sad about it is the excuse that Paul Hogan gave, because we're going to talk about this here. So yeah, what we're talking about is Crocodile Dundee is getting a new theatrical release in Australia and a new 4K remastering. And it turns out they've edited out about 2+ minutes of footage from the film that was deemed offensive.
Mm.
And we're going to get to that here in just a second, because I got a whole nother story about this that is not covered in our recent video, but I want to thank everybody who's checked out our recent video, because I wrote that. So yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, so what is the scene that's in question here? Well, I'm trying to get the clips up here. I have the actual clips, if my computer would work with me.
I mean, there's he goes to a party. Well, first
Yeah.
of all, he's at a bar, and then there's a person that's talking to him that is presenting themselves as a woman, but it's actually not a woman, and he sort of does a certain inspection to find out if it's a woman or a man, and then later he goes to a party, and he's in a
Yeah,
similar
that's the real
situation.
payoff. Yeah.
Right. It's like a setup and payoff. It's a joke that sets up another joke. And man, those are really important jokes. I don't think you could remove that from that movie. It really, it's
Oh, it's all gone now.
that is really. And what are the 3 minutes? Okay, so even that's what else did they
Okay,
remove?
well, this is a minute in itself. The first scene.
Times, wait.
Another scene later on with that same character that I think is also excised. That's where
We
the other
just
bit comes from.
said a few months ago when we covered this on Toxic Tuesday that if this were to come out today, or if they ever like put this on like a new TV version, they will take these scenes out. And surely enough, I was wrong about the format they put on, but they did the idea of what I said.
I was on that, by the way. I don't know
Oh,
if you remember.
were on.
I was
Yeah,
on that Toxic
sure.
Tuesday. Yes, I don't get invited to Toxic Tuesday often, but when I do, it's Crocodile Dundee.
Well, maybe
Well,
you
you're
gotta
probably
come
always
back. You gotta
invited.
come-
You just
you're
you just
you
got to
could
say I want to
always
show up.
come. Yeah, you could just like, Nick, I want to come on the show. It's been too long. Like, okay, Price, I'm gonna let you on. It's gonna be diabolical, and then we're at the Price of Reason. Join us. I'm gonna let the crowd know really loudly that you're gonna join us, and it'll be great.
No, and
All right.
I love Crocodile Dundee. It's a
So
great
good.
film. I mean, it's almost one of those perfect fish out of water stories, and it works so well. And guess what? It is of its fucking time.
I'm
And
the
the
Rob
audience
Liefeld. I'm
knows
the Rob
that.
Liefeld of Toxic Tuesdays.
You're invited, but you're not invited, Price.
He's totally Ryan Reynoldsing me, Nick.
Oh,
It's gonna be
What? Did
huge
somebody
and
not invite you?
diabolical, but
I'll
without
fix it right
brass.
away. Anyway, so this actually came across my attention from Greg over at Fanzine. So I don't think this is going to be an isolated incident because this comes out of Australia. Because, of course, that's where that film comes from. But I guess even though they tried throwing Paramount and a few other people under the bus, and even though Paul Hogan signed off on this, because his quote was, the character is naive, but it doesn't work now. It's like, well, that's not the point, Paul. Right? Like, you had it right the first time when you said the character is naive. That's the whole
Right,
point.
that's what makes it funny.
He's never encountered a trans person before or a cross-dresser before. That's the whole point. Now it's a bit different because like Australia back then when Crocodile Dundee came out, it was one of the manliest places you could live. Right? Now
It's like Pussyville.
it's Pussyville.
there's soy everywhere in the gardens and the drinks.
Sorry, Jason, not to shit on Australia.
Well, at this point, you'd make it manly again by doing that.
So they want to not only censor that, but they want to censor shit like Mary fucking Poppins. And I'm sitting here scratching my head going, what the fuck is wrong with Mary Poppins? So let's see what the hell is going on here. This came out last week, or the 20th actually, from Sky News. Says, straight out of Orwell, Australian Classification Board accused of requesting powers to censor historical films and literature. So this is not the first time we've heard this shit. But it's like getting to the point where I'm like, well, I thought we were getting past some of this, but I guess not. Australian Classification
some
Board.
countries are. Some countries
Yeah,
are just
some
catching
are.
on later.
Classification Board has been accused of wanting to censor historical films and literature after it requested the power to reclassify movies, books, games, and TV shows after 10 years if they are out of step with community standards. Is that fucking insane or what? Australia's Classification Board has been accused of seeking power to censor historical films and literature after it's called for the ability to change classifications that are out of step with community standards and expectations. The Classification Board has told a government review into us. That's what it says here. Into Australian classification system that I think it means talked, not told. It should have the ability to reclassify movies, books, games, and TV shows if they were reviewed more than 10 years ago. Currently, the board can only reclassify a publication if the communications minister requests a review. But the Classification Board has told the Albanese government that it should have the ability to initiate reviews either on its own initiative or due to ongoing complaints or requests or inquiry. Yeah. There's a need for a flexible and rational approach to reviewing archaic and out-of-step classifications and consumer advice for previously classified media, the board submission states. However, The proposal has been slammed as enabling censorship, with Institute of Public Affairs Research Director Morgan Begg calling it Orwellian. The suggestion that the federal government should be given retrospective powers to censor historical films and literature is an idea straight out of Orwell, Mr. Begg told Sky News Australia. Noting the adage that those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, the IPA research director said that canceling the past would not make today's society any safer or more united. What the classification board is seeking has nothing to do with protecting children, but sanitizing historical works and chiding Australians for appreciating works that fall short of censors' current ideas of community standards. He said, oh, that was very well put. Classification board justified its request by pointing to requirements in the Classification Act that required it to take the amount of community standards. If the classification is to be undertaken to give effect to community standards of morality, decency, and propriety is required under the Act and Code, there needs to be a legislative acknowledgement that those standards will inevitably change over time, and therefore provision must be made for a simple mechanism to allow the reclassification of content, the submission states. The board argued that while the classifications should not expire, they should be able to be reviewed after a period of time, recommending this period be 10 years. The independent body said a similar system existed in parts of Europe, pointing out that last year the British film classification reclassified the 64 classic Mary Poppins, raising the classification from U for Universal, the lowest classification, to PG for parental guidance due to a racial slur in the film. What racial slur? Yeah, there's some weird ads in this browser, motherfucking right. I do not have an enlarged prostate, so I have no idea where that came from. When was there a racial slur in Mary Poppins? I guess.
And even if there was, that's just part of the movie. You don't have to like it. Like, it's part of the movie. Not everything needs to be like changed to accustomed to your sensibilities. Like, I don't think that there is, but let's just pretend that there is, and they're right. Oh well, like, okay, that's just what the movie was. Like, if that's the precedent we're saying, we might as well never have American History X to show us about why racism is stupid and retarded, because it talks about it. It shows you everything that's wrong with it. Like, if that's the everybody, well, this is showing that. Okay, so yeah, sometimes you're telling a story. Don't get me wrong. I don't feel good when I see grape in movies, but I do recognize at times, outside of Death Wish 2 is probably the one movie where they overkilled it. I do recognize at the end of the day that they're trying to tell a story, and sometimes part of the story is to make you feel uneasy, so you hope that, some bad guy get what's coming to him. So we need to come to grips with that rather than have everything be coddled and cushioned to make us feel comfortable around it.
Well, there was that scene where Dick Van Dyke ran around calling everybody a bunch of so I suppose. I can't believe all these darkies around here. They're all about.
It happened. We just moved past it rather than just change it. That's just neglecting the history of it.
Fuck! People, grow a set of nuts! However, not all classic films have seen their original ratings increase. The British comedy Monty Python's Life of Brian has recently been target of controversy over a scene involving male character played by Eric Idle, who is mocked for wanting to be. Oh! Yes, because we used that scene to show how fucking stupid you guys are! Anyway, when the film was re-released in cinemas in 2019, the BBFC lowered its classification to 12A, with the rating being attributed to the infrequent strong language and moderate sex references and nudity in comic violence. The film was originally given an AA classification, prohibiting people under the age of 14 from seeing the film, but more than 101 local authorities used their discretionary powers to review the classification, with 28 giving it an X classification that restricted it to people over 18 and 11 banning it all together. So yeah, like, this is some bullshit that I don't know if we're seeing the end of, because this is where I think they're going to exercise a lot of their woke powers. I don't know what you guys think about this. I mean, I guess this is Australia, but
fucking sucks.
What's funny is we need to have one of the wokest motherfuckers in the world tell them why this is wrong, don't you think?
Hey, I'm Whoopi Goldberg, and welcome to the Tom and Jerry Spotlight Collection. I've been a fan of Tom and Jerry since I was a little kid, because they're the quintessential cartoon comedy team in that slapstick tradition of great silent comics. The Oscar-nominated short Puss Gets the Boot first set the stage for their ongoing literal cat and mouse game that usually ended with that clever mouse Jerry getting the best of poor old Tom Cat. Now, the Tom and Jerry episodes included in this collection and the outrageous brand of humor shown here comes to us from a time when racial and ethnic differences were caricatured in the name of entertainment. Now, while humor may have been the intent of such caricatures, they also had the effect of revealing society's unfair and hurtful representations of people of color, women, and ethnic groups. Now, some of the cartoons here reflect prejudices that were common in American society, especially when it came to racial and ethnic groups. Now, these prejudices were wrong then, and they are certainly wrong today. With Puss Gets the Boot, we're introduced to one of those caricatures, Mammy Two Shoes. Now, Mammy Two Shoes had a key reoccurring role in a number of Tom and Jerry shorts and was an important component.
And they actually removed this character from a bunch of these shorts later on, mind you. So during the broadcast versions, most of them do not have this character in them.
That made the interplay in those cartoons work so well. Her performance was voiced by black actress Lillian Randolph, who had played a variety of roles on television, radio, and films like It's a Wonderful Life. Now, Mammy is significant to the template of Tom and Jerry because she brings the human touch to the cartoon world, an entry point for the viewer. The fact that she is so definite a character, even though we really never see her face, is due to the acting and posing that Joe Barbera excelled at, the skills of the animators, and the excellent voice talent of Lillian Randolph.
Well, come on, Tom. It's time you were put out for the night.
Removing Mammy Two Shoes from this collection would be the same as pretending that she never existed. The same is true for the other images and jokes that we wouldn't normally include in a mainstream cartoon today. So, Ms. Two Shoes, along with other elements that reveal the prejudices of the time, are presented here to accurately reflect a part of our history that cannot and should not be ignored.
Do you get that? Everybody out there?
Yeah, I got it. I agree.
This is coming from one of the wokest motherfuckers in the world. Yeah, I'm getting tired of this shit. That's all I have to say on that. I don't think anybody but Whoopi could have said it better than that. I think we're all adults here. I think we can understand that things are of a different time and we shouldn't show kids things that are probably going to teach them bad things without context. Don't you? I think most people can agree with that. I mean, is it our fault that too many parents use Disney Plus and Netflix and YouTube as babysitters?
Yeah. I mean, people shouldn't do that, I guess.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring down the mood, but I thought that was pretty poignant considering it's coming from Whoopi Goldberg herself.
Yeah, I still don't need to hear from her. Like, whether she's right or not, I don't need to hear from her. We just need to learn to make up our minds for ourselves, understand these situations, look into it, and realize, okay, this is a very wild time, and people said a bunch of reckless things, and obviously, some cases is done out of humor, some cases is definitely not done. Sometimes maybe it was a bridge too far. It's just how things were. I don't need to hear from her. The world happens, shite happens. Rather than constantly talking about it, we're keeping these problems that they say they want eradicated alive by constantly going and hearkening back to it. So we're not doing anything to really dial down the problem. All we do is keep the pedal on the gas with it.
I know, but I love showing these kind of videos because it's when you see Biden saying, I would never pardon my son. And then what he goes,
oh, God, yeah.
That's what I mean. That to me is the same. That's what it's like. ActionCom sends in 10 and says, all these U.S. aid reveals, but has anyone heard any Hollywood benefiting from that slush fund? Yes, actually they have. At least I've heard the same rumors you have, it sounds like. About actors taking money, but nothing confirmed. I heard there was some performances and stuff paid for. I don't know if you guys heard anything more on that, but I haven't been keeping up with it as much. So, but yeah, no, that whole thing seems like it was nothing but a money laundering scheme. Deeple101 sends in 5 and says, Tom and Nick, is there a con that you guys are planning on attending where those of us not going to MegaCon Vegas FNT can go to or can plan to go? Adult planning sucks. That's kind of why I can't say offhand where or if or when I'll be able to make one, because adult planning sucks right now. As soon as I know of any of them, you'll definitely be the first ones to know. I'll let you all know, but as of right now, I don't have any immediate plans. Maybe when I do try to do something, I'll try to meet up with Mikey and we'll do something like that all at the same time to make it all work. So probably somewhere around that area, I'd imagine. But I have no idea when a time frame at this point is. But anyhow, that's one of my main goals, is to meet up with Mikey sooner than later, though. So Jason Webster says with Australian 5, it's okay, Tom. We're all not like those idiots you read about in these type of articles. Thankfully, they're only a small minority. Well, I'd like to think so. And Gonzalo Bergali's been here for 34 months. Thank you for that, Gonzalo. We appreciate the support. And I believe we should be having a member stream. I think this weekend is the plan. But we should know more about that tomorrow morning. So with that, unless there was anything else you guys wanted to discuss, I think that was pretty much the size of it as far as the main topics of the night.
I think we covered our bases very well.
Oh, we got another super chat from Sabretooth Raptor who says, new series, The Adventures of Father Time, Culture Casino, Mexican Iron Man, The Great Sage, Sage Ben Franklin, Tom Connors, Elf, and Nunchucking Dinos. It's Nunchuckosaurus. That's right. Check it out. Jason Webster says, Australia is a great place to live. We are friendly, humorous, and pragmatic. Best of all, if you become a friend, you're a friend for life. Well, your government's fucked. Leave the movies alone, man. What the fuck? Yeah, just strange where this stuff's coming from and why. So with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Price, you got a show later on? A couple shows, I think.
Yeah, hey, it's good you reminded me. There's the Quantum Leap one at 10 p.m. And then and that's on my live channel, Price of Reason Live. And then at Price of Reason Live at 11:45 p.m., both Eastern times, there's the Night Owl with Professor R2 and sometimes other surprise guests.
Awesome sauce. Nick, what you got going on?
Oh, let's see here. Obviously, I'll be on TNT in 90 minutes or so, and Clobby's Comic Shop tomorrow. Toxic Tuesday next week. Black Dynamite. If you haven't seen that movie, you might want to check yourself and fix your life, and then thank Nick for why you watched it, because it's seriously going to be a very diabolical Toxic Tuesday with Black Dynamite in your life. So yeah. I'll be on here next week as well. Oh yeah, thanks for having me. Oh, member stream Saturday night. Member stream. All members can come. I want you there. So please come hang out. It'll be before Flashcast too, so it won't interfere with the Flash. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun. And yes, I do want to see The Day the Earth Blew Up. Tetrarch Apathy. I saw the preview for it at Dogman last week with my children. It looks fun, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm not aware of what this is. I'll have to see what that is.
It's
Jason
the
Webster.
movie based on Daffy Duck and Porky Pig.
Oh, yeah, that one. Jason Webster says, received Nosferatu goodies I ordered from NBC Universal Store. My office is full of Godzilla -1 and Nosferatu memorabilia. Ooh, what all did you get? I'm curious, Jason. I ordered the sarcophagus or whatever, the popcorn bucket. I haven't got it yet, but otherwise, all I got is the old Nosferatu NECA figure. I don't really have much else, so I'm curious what you got. So that's cool. But with that, it's time to wrap it up, I guess. I might show up on TNT later. No guarantees. You never know with me, though. So with that, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Cute kitty.
Available now for the first time ever on DVD from Midnight's Edge After Dark Productions. It's My Two Dads, the complete first season starring Mexican Iron Man Tom Connors and Culture Casino. Available now for $19.99 while supplies last.